He wants to know how young is too young for a piper to have a skin do.
Oh,
Well, they make dummy skin doos.
yeah.
So you could be pretty young as a piper and have a skin do. It's how young of a kid you want to hand a knife.
Yeah.
I mean, I've handed my son. My son is now 8. We've gone on hikes when he was 7 this past summer, and I've started. I hope Kelly's not watching. I've started allowing him to carve wood. I've taught him about the safety circle and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I've done it under supervision with no one else around aside from me and my cat-like reflexes, in case he tries to stab me. And I have my own knife so I can defend myself. But did I just talk about stabbing my son? Kind of. However, would I give it to him to, trust with him to have? No, 8 in my mind is probably a little bit too young.
Mm-hmm.
So for a bagpiper, a dummy skin do might work for a period. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I agree. I mean, it's like any other weapon, essentially. I think a dummy skin do is a good idea, just like a waster sword is a good idea. You should always teach your kids to sword fight while they're young. Make boffers. It's a good family activity. But I think there's 2 ways to look at it. Number one is it's a sharp-edged weapon. You need to gauge their motor skill level and their level of responsibility, their level of awareness.
Yes.
My son has had a camping knife for a few years, actually. I think I gave it to him. His first one that was like his was like when he was 12. And that was after practicing and using my stuff and things like that for a long time. I gave him his first, and this is a family tradition, but I gave him his first Swiss Army knife just this past year. It was my dad's. It was his grandfather's, who has since passed. So that had a double layer to it, that it's not just I'm giving you something because I trust you, and because you're at an age now where having tools and learning to use your tools and being a capable, independent, functioning human is something you're starting to grow into. But it was also the tradition. So I wasn't going to give him that particular item until it was like he had a sense of the emotional import of it. So I think a skin do, a functional skin do, the first part applies. A clan crest skin do, or something that has symbolic meaning to you, to your family, that's different. And I think you want to wait until they're a teenager or something. You're going to say, look, this is part of our family tradition. This is part of our heritage. This is an important item. I trust you to carry on this tradition, so I'm giving this to you now. So that's a whole nother layer.
I agree. And I'm going back to the video we did.
Now I'm getting choked up.
No, I'm going back to the video we did on the write him a letter thing. I would take the opportunity of that scenario, and I think that's beautiful. And I'm not trying to sound cheesy about it. I honestly think that is nice. I will probably do something like that for Liam. I would take that opportunity to make it almost a ceremony, where this is a thing we are formally doing for you, or you are formally, as his father to son, are formally doing for him, and or write him a letter with it, explaining what it means, why it means something, the level of trust you have in him. He has now become an adult in your eyes, or he's passed a certain threshold.
Right. It's a rite of passage.
Correct. Yeah. And kind of give that to him and allow him to keep that memory either alive in his mind or the physical letter that you give him, so that 50 years from now, when we're both gone, hopefully not, but that he will have that and be able to say, okay, now I need to do this for my son.
Right. That's so there's 2 levels to it.
Yeah.
But the practicality thing has to come first. My son has had this is TMI in a way, but he's had motor control issues since he was born. So for me, I was very, very, very sensitive about, okay, does he have the motor control to work with a knife? He's since gotten into like whittling. He just does it.
Yeah.
Whenever we go camping, it's like the first thing he wants to do is like sit and whittle. So okay, it's like, all right, okay, you're getting that skill level down, so it's okay. But getting him used to the idea of having something, that's what toys are for. So I think the dummy skin do is a great idea. that's why toys were invented. That's why toys exist, is to give kids a chance to practice for adult tools and things, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, one reason they exist. But.
Yeah, they have to eventually transition. It is up to you as the parent to decide when they are mature enough emotionally and physically to be able to handle it, that you can trust them with it. I mean, some kids, you know, I wouldn't necessarily trust some kids with a knife at age 16,
Right.
much less age 8.
Right.
So it depends on the individual, and recognizing that and looking at it, you know, from a realist lens within your own family. But yeah, it's making it part of the tradition, making it a thing to be revered and a thing to be, you know, an emotional punch. I really like that idea.
And I know some people will use it as an incentive also. You know, it's like, you know, when the kid's admiring your thing, whatever it is, whether it's a skin do or a sword or something else, you know, it's like, someday you'll be ready for this. Someday. Keep at it. Keep doing what you're doing. You know, and then incentivizing them. So there's something to that too.
I agree. I wouldn't incentivize them with a date, because they're looking
No,
forward to
not a date.
what's
It's just
the
it's
end.
vague. You gotta keep it vague. Yeah.
Indeed.
You will know when you are calm, at peace. Thank you for watching. Obviously, as often as we talk about clothing and fashion and things like that here, we're also talking about traditions and family life and heritage and what we pass on. What is our legacy? So tell us in the comments, what has been a legacy that you've received or something you want to pass on to your children? What makes all this matter in the grand scheme of things? Give us your thoughts. We'd love to hear them. In the meantime, please like the video, please subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you want more content like this, be sure to check these out. Thank you.